Hello, aloha. My name's Sydney Campos. I'm a psychic energy healer and embodiment facilitator. It's an honor to meet you and to connect with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in and choosing to share presence. My intention with the channel is to really support embodiment and ascension experiences that I know many people are going through right now in terms of our multidimensional capacities coming online and just getting blasted with so much light, more than we've ever felt in a body before. And there's just a lot going on. There's a lot happening, and it's a lot to be human and to feel everything that we have the capacity to feel. So today I want to talk about this conundrum paradox of being a high achiever, being a perfectionist, being a go-getter, speaking from my own experience, burning out on doing too much, being busy, feeling like you have to do it all, feeling like you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, feeling like there's never enough time to get everything done that you want to do. I spent most of my life, frankly, trying to prove myself a lot, never feeling like I was enough or like what I did was enough, and being burnt out for quite a while, and actually having different phases of the burnout, which maybe you relate to. And I've really been deepening in this awareness over the last, year and a half, around just what is burnout and what is high achieving. Where does that come from? Where does this almost like compulsive need to prove oneself come from? What are some of the early childhood dynamics that set that emotion and familial patterns and things? And certainly the social pressures, right, of perfectionism, having to look good, and having this hyper attunement to how people relate to you and see you by nature of social media and other things. And it's a lot. We're all under a lot of pressure, it can feel like, right, to perform at a high level. If you're anything like me too, you might have been born on this planet and thought, where am I? This does not feel like what I signed up for. This is really not what I expected. And just maybe from a young age feeling like you could really see through a lot of the distortion, dishonesty, manipulation, just a lot of the fear-based survival programs on this planet, different control structures and systems of oppression. You might have always been able to see through those and just wondered, wait a minute, I think there's a better way to be doing all of this stuff. And maybe you always had a sensitivity to fear and the anxiety that you saw around you, operating at a mass level, and just maybe you always saw through that. But maybe it felt confusing, or maybe it felt lonely. Maybe you felt like, especially as a child, I mean, I remember feeling like, even before I was a teenager, feeling like, am I crazy? Or, what I'm not wanting to play the game like everybody else is. There's got to be a better way to take care of ourselves and each other and the planet. I couldn't, for example, I grew up in the middle of San Francisco, pretty busy city, right in the middle. And I remember at a really young age, probably around fourth grade, fifth grade, when I moved there with my family from New England. Talk about culture shock. And we moved to the middle of this really busy neighborhood, and I didn't understand why people were homeless. I didn't understand how people could be on the street hungry and not have a home, and that no one was helping them. That to me felt really strange. I didn't understand that, and that people would just walk by and ignore them. That felt really wrong, and I didn't understand that. And I felt the pain of that kind of like accepted insanity that so many people seem to be just living with. A lot of these like early empathic psychic abilities that you might relate to, such as like really feeling the pain of inequality and things like that, these can really weigh heavily on us when we're really young. And it can feel like a burden to be so sensitive. It can feel exhausting. And it can also be a driver. This heightened sensitivity and awareness can be a driver towards what you want to create in your life. It can drive your mission to, want to build things that help to solve some of these problems that you might have felt really sensitive to your whole life. It might drive you to become an activist or a change maker or a healer, or to just give back in some way, right? To help to reconcile inequality or oppression, or just these kind of massive social inequities and pain points that we have as humans on Earth. And so I think that is part of the overachieving or the, how you can get so burnt out, feeling like it's up to you to solve all the problems of the world. What I really want to convey today is that these sensitivities, these empathic abilities and psychic abilities to see through this world that we're taught to believe is normal, right? This is such a gift, even if it has felt like a burden, or it's felt isolating, or it's been challenging to feel like, wait a minute, everyone around me seems to be okay with this, but I have not been okay with it. What's wrong with me? That can tend to be very present, especially when you're really young and wanting to belong, wanting to fit in, all that kind of stuff. And I really want to convey to anybody that has felt like that or is feeling like that sense kind of isolation or what's wrong because I don't believe what everyone else around me believes, that you're in the right place and we need you. You're the visionary. You're here to see the world in a different way, and you're here to light the way towards creating the future that we wish existed. And we need you now more than ever. We really do. And we really need you to feel rested and nourished and revitalized so that you have your full creative capacity available to lead when it's your time. We need you. So that's really the message, right? If you're an overachiever, if you've come from this place of like, maybe you've experienced what it's like to be proving yourself and going against the stream and trying to create everything to save the world and solve these massive, massive issues that have been in place long before you were even born. But you can also see how to unravel them, and you maybe have a sense of some of the big solutions that, are pretty within reach now, especially to really change things. I want to encourage you in really taking care of yourself, and that we need you in your full capacity and to really have optimized energy to feel your best. That you can't be of service to anybody else if you're not in service to yourself. And I feel like I've been on an initiation in this at a deeper layer the last year and a half. I've become even more clear on this. We're in a time right now of such profound transformation on our planet and our bodies. I'm talking about our cellular DNA, energy field structure. We're all just changing at the speed of light, literally and figuratively, and opening up so many new capacities and abilities. And it's requiring a lot of rest. This processes we're all undergoing can be very detoxifying. It's a deep, full-on recalibration many of us are going through now, and it is requiring a different rhythm of living. It's requiring us to rest more, to really prioritize rest, to no longer associate with some of these roles that maybe used to give us a lot, like the overachiever, the perfectionist, the big boss, the person holding it all, really self-sufficient, the lone wolf. These archetypes, maybe you relate. Because what we're going through, and definitely as far as I see it, where we're going, it's requiring us to be in more connection than we've ever experienced with ourselves, with our guides, with each other. And to really build what we're here to build and experience in a new way is requiring so much more support. This is how we create the new future, is actually by creating in a new way. This is like one of the biggest messages, I suppose, of all, that we can't build the new things that we imagine. We can't really see the solution that we sense on a deep level is going to help. We can't really see it clearly until we are really orienting from a place of deep nourishment, rest within ourselves. And from there, we create in a new way, right? We will actually have a different pacing and style of leading, of collaborating, of deconditioning those parts of ourselves that used to just be so alone and self-sufficient and stressed and burned out and tired, and just a completely new paradigm we're being asked to attune with. And then really allowing these next steps of what we're here to build unfold in a different way too. Much less logical, much less linear. I've always heard for years, my guides will say, we will see it as we become it, right? Meaning like this new earth or heaven on earth. It is unfolding as we ourselves are becoming different. That maybe our external reality doesn't need to completely change in order for us to change. That maybe actually that whole concept needs to be flipped on its head. The outside world and reality changes as we allow ourselves to deeply change and transform, and actually be at more ease with how things are, actually accept more fully how things are. And then we can see more clearly what are the true creative visions present that we are meant to architect and bring into form that really generate these new experiences and ways of creating and opportunities and sources of abundance. The process of this unfolding feels much more supported, collaborative, co-creative. It feels like it's full of ease. And it's fun to talk about it conceptually, but I'm noticing as I'm sharing about this, I can speak to it from a more embodied understanding because I've been through it. It takes a lot of practice to be able to really effectively collaborate with other people, to be able to listen, to drop those masks of the overachiever, of needing to prove, of needing to be perfect, to let go of the pressure, to let go of the self-criticism, to let go of even the addiction to adrenaline. These are some of the things that many are being asked to work through now, and it is not done alone. It must be done with support, community. Maybe it can be done alone. I don't think so. My experience has been that real deep healing happens in relationship and in community. That's where our blind spots can come up and be unearthed and really transmuted with more unconditional love and acceptance of how we're being in the moment, more love and acceptance of who we really are. Just letting go of the pressure, letting go of who we thought we were supposed to be. So I guess the last thing I want to share is just about energy healing and how we all have the capacity to be a healing presence in the world and to be a healing presence for ourselves and each other. And one of the greatest practices any of us can do is really start to explore our own energetic healing capacity and ability. And that can look like so many different things, maybe infinite different expressions. I just guided a beautiful live meditation. It's really an attunement on Insight Timer where I guided a practice of attunement, self-energy healing. And I love sharing in community like that. So that's one way. But maybe energy healing to you feels like movement or breath work or sound healing or dance or anything where you feel nourished, a bath, a sauna, hugging a friend, cuddling, working in the garden, planting, hands in the soil, being in the ocean, in so many different things. And just really encourage you, if you've resonated with what I have shared today, to get curious about what energy healing might look like for you today. And it will change over time. In the past, early on in my journey, about 10 years ago, when I was learning about energy healing, it literally, energy healing looked like to me self Reiki and really practicing feeling healing energy from my own hands into my own body. And anyone can do this. You don't need an attunement to be able to do this. Your own energy is so revitalizing for yourself when focused with intention. And it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be nourishing. How do you nourish yourself? How do you take care of yourself? How do you give yourself the gift of your own presence? This is the ultimate healing for any of us, really, right? The more you nourish yourself, the greater really the gift of your own presence is for anybody else that comes into contact with you. And then imagine what kind of world we live in when more people are living from presence, living in attunement, are able to listen, have healthy, regulated nervous systems that aren't creating from a place of needing to prove themselves or from fear or survival or scarcity or isolation, but from they're creating with genuine trust and source and a higher guidance coming in and collaboration and co-creation and support. Imagine what's possible. We're capable of literally anything when we are tuning into our true infinite resource. We are capable of absolutely anything. I know that. And that's why I'm alive. How about you? So, with that, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be with you today. Thank you for listening. If this message resonated, please share a comment. I'd love to hear how self care and energy healing or any of the overachievement, perfectionism pieces landed for you. Maybe what you're committed to exploring in terms of what energy healing is like for you now. And if you want support, I have tons of resources. I've written 2 books all about energy healing and embodiment, The Empath Experience, What to Do When You Feel Everything, and I'm Ascending Now, which is also full of energy healing attunements, every single chapter. That's a manual for embodiment. And I have a ton of resources on the Embodied Ascension Academy as well. And if you want to dive deeper, you can always book a session with me or apply for private mentorship. But most of all, I really hope that you take a few moments for yourself today, throughout the day, for the rest of your life if you want, but just for today. So really honor yourself, your being, the path that you've walked, all that has moved through you to arrive to this moment, to arrive to this new moment, open to new possibilities, open to a new perspective, open to learning, open to being curious. Thank you so much for your attention. It is truly the greatest gift. Thank you.